Hey guys, this is RumblePac Podcast. We're a new podcast, just three best friends who actually hate each other. My name's Stefano.
My name is Patrick.
And my name is Pasquale.
Yeah, we all met each other at school doing, fuck knows what. No, we were graphic designers. And so this is our new venture. We're going to make a podcast once a week for you guys. Hopefully you all enjoy it. And we're going to start off every podcast. We're going to talk about what games we're playing that week. And hopefully it's different games every week, but it probably won't be because we suck. So,
because we're poor college students, we buy one game a month and then play the shit out of it. For
You
years.
get one a month?
Yeah, right?
So every 3 months, every year. Anyway, so we're probably gonna have the same game of the week this week, except for one miserable bastard who refuses to try it.
Dick?
Well, look. Yeah, go on. That's fine.
Mine's gonna be Fallout 4
Mine's also Fallout 4.
because we're the best.
Yeah.
It's just Binding of Isaac again for the 7th week in
Mine
a
is
row.
no. Well,
18th week in a row.
are we doing our game of the week, or
Whatever
I thought we
game
were
you're playing that week.
I thought we were just getting
What
games
game
we're
you're
playing
playing-
this week.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
currently I've been playing Far Cry 4 because I've been putting it off for about
6 months?
how long? Yeah, 6 months. I don't like it, but I want the platinum trophy, so I've been playing that quite a bit. I've also been playing religiously, of course, Binding of Isaac Rebirth. A lot of drama currently in the community, which we're going to talk about next week. And Nintendo put out an arcade for small children where you pay real money
That
to get
sounds
little
absolutely
badges.
terrible, just
And
so
I've
you
already
know.
spent $20 on it. So that's what I've been doing this week.
Hey, it's free to play and also spend millions
It's
of
free
dollars
to
for it,
play,
so it's
but
totally
also
fine.
it's crack.
It's also stupid. You know what? Okay.
That's fine. This is why I said it. I'm baiting you. Go for it, please.
No, we're not doing it. I have a question for you, though, before we get into it.
Yeah.
Just to explain the show a little bit now that we're already started, does it make sense? We're all going to bring one or two topics to the table this week. There's 3 of us, so anywhere between 3 and 6 topics.
That sounds good, yeah.
Hopefully 6, but, we all suck, so. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to go in a round table and make sure, hopefully, that we cover all of them in one episode, but, we don't want to go too long. We'll see what everyone says. My question for you, though, before we start any of the topics is, are you the kind of person that plays games just to get trophies?
No, not at all. I like the idea of trophies. Like, it gives you something to do, and if you really like a game, you can go the extra mile to kind of get... I hate using this phrase, but get your money's worth out of it. It gives you, like, a checklist of things to do. I like, if a game is cheap and it has, like, an easy trophy list, I'll pick it up and just to knock it out. But that hasn't stopped me from buying games like Witcher or freaking Elder Scrolls Online. I'm never going to complete those games, but I'm going to buy them. So I play games for fun, for the most part.
My question for you, though, is... what did you do before achievements and trophies existed? Like, did you just not know what to do with the game after a certain point?
I completed the Pokedex 14 times.
What the fuck? What is wrong with you?
What? Why do you play... Is this not why we play video games?
It's to catch them all, not to catch them all 14 times.
Well, look...
You
need proper stats. You need to breed them a whole bunch of times. Eventually, you just have sets.
I thought you just have sex. I swear to God, that would have been amazing.
Well, that's a meta game, yeah. But
That's what
Nintendo
Diddle's
doesn't
for.
talk about that too much.
That's what Diddle's for.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Okay, we got off the rails already. Let's get started.
No, yeah.
So, we're going to lead in. Me and Patrick kind of came to the table with the same topic, so normally I would let him start with the topic, but since we have the same topic, we're just going to go with that as the first one. So
It's going to be incredibly... What's the word? Audacious? This is a big topic.
yeah, it's a big topic to tackle for the first one, but we figure that's probably the best, so you get to know us better too. It's going to be our top 5 games of all time, not necessarily based on quality, but on preference.
So keep in mind, you're not going to agree with any of us, but that's okay. I think this is a good exercise. This kind of gives us a little bit more insight into who we are as people.
Yeah, and not hopefully you care, but
No one cares. I don't care.
but don't be offended if like your favorite game isn't on here because fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
So with that being said, Stefano, would you like to continue pissing off our fan
did
base?
we actually
Absolutely.
did we actually say what the topic was?
Yeah, top 5 games of all
So
time.
yeah,
okay.
top 5 games of all time. All time.
Yeah,
All time.
Yeah, all time.
yeah, that's
time.
like
I
even
got
like
it.
Pong
You got
and
it?
shit.
Yeah.
Good.
Ultron. I mean all time.
Ultron.
Age?
Slapsgiving. So, Patrick, you're going to go ahead and go first. Feel free, I'm going to insult you if it's something I think is stupid.
That's fair. How about we do it in a round table sort of way?
Wait,
we'll start at 5.
One
and then
by
we'll go
one?
up. Okay.
We have to number them in order of, like,
No. Just
what we like.
okay. Well, it's a top 5 game, so I'm assuming, like for me, I wouldn't be able to choose a 1 to 5.
Yeah.
So they all would be equally 1 for me.
That's what I agree.
So let's just
Okay.
go in order, saying one of my games, and one of your games, and one of your games, and back to me to start round 2.
Yeah, sure. I
Something
agree.
like that.
All right.
Patrick's first. Go ahead, buddy.
So in my top 5 list, of no particular order, I would have to give it to, and disagree, that's fair, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Only because... Okay, again, look, I'm getting disapproving looks. I haven't even made my case yet.
Majora's Mask.
Really?
Let me point out one thing. If we do have a similar game...
If you could agree with me,
But
that'd be great.
I know, but I'm saying, like, I don't want to say the same game, because I feel like it could be a favorite of mine, but if I have a different thought, like, I don't want to have the same game be, like, said 3 times.
That's fine.
So we should, if we say it once, like, we can say we agree with that, but I have a different set of 5. Even though that would be in the top 5.
That's fair.
Yeah,
you
okay.
do that. Yeah, if you agree with me, just say that.
Yeah, no.
To that
I
point,
agree with
though, I really don't even like the Zelda series at all, so my opinion on that's invalid. I just
Well,
feel like...
You're wrong.
Only
right.
the reason why I bring it forward as my personal top 5 game of all time is just because at the time when it came out, there was really nothing like it. It was really ambitious. It was a huge game, and it you might not agree, but it really defined what the open world RPG evolved into.
I do agree with that.
And because of the impact that it had on not only its time, but even like we're still seeing it today. That's why I think it has a place in the top 5 games of all time.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I just think that as far as, like... Again, this is a personal preference, not of actual ability.
No, of course.
But, like, so, like, I'm not actually saying you're wrong, but you're wrong. I'm kidding.
No.
Like I said, I have no real opinion on the Zelda series. I just
Get used to that.
I just right now. I just feel like it's the first one that made it. Like the first 3D Zelda game, so that in theory the one that came after would be better. Majora's Mask, because it perfected on what it had made before and still had a different story. It wasn't just a sequel; it was totally different.
Right, but then by that logic, the current Call of Duty is the best one ever made.
It is.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the best Assassin's Creed ever made. It's not.
But
just because you have something in a sequel, I mean, that's saying that Dragon Age Origins was better than the original Dragon Age, which it wasn't at all. It was horrible.
Yeah,
which is why they went back
and its mechanics, though. Like on a mechanic basis, it was right.
Better. So you're saying the best game's just based on mechanics?
No. I'm arguing. I think Majora's Mask is a cooler story just because I think it's a cooler premise already.
Right.
But
I'm not arguing for the fact of like story or premise or anything. I'm just like I'm putting it in the top 5 of all time just because of what it led to and what it created after that.
Okay, I get that. All right, that's fair.
Right. Obviously, like if I had to put like my favorite Zelda game on the list,
well, that's what it should be.
Okay, you want my favorite Zelda game?
Yeah, this is your preference. Like what spoke out to you as in your life.
That's very fair. Then in that case, my favorite game in the Zelda series is Legend of Zelda or Ocarina of Time.
All right.
Freaking savages.
Son of a bitch.
Go on. Your turn.
I can agree with that, but
You're a piece of garbage. I have no opinion. I really don't care for that series.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I'll agree with that. I'm not going to put that in one of my 5 because you've already said it, but it might be up there somewhere. But I'm going to say one of my top favorites would be Kingdom Hearts 1 and or 2. I'm going to put them as a series in general. And I already see Patrick. He's losing his mind.
I'm not saying anything. That's fine. Keep going.
So, I don't know. I just find, like, as a kid, when I played it, it had a great story. It would, like, especially at the time, back in, I think it was 2006 was the last one came out, the major one. It had a fantastic graphics. Like, it just made me emotionally involved, and I loved the characters. It just spoke out to me. So, go.
I mean,
talk out.
I can't even, like... It's Disney characters in Final Fantasy. I mean, like...
See, but that's the thing. Even them, when they made it, they're like, I don't know what's going to happen. But it ended up working it just worked. Like, it didn't... See, might not have worked to you, but to, like, a ton of other people,
I just want to say...
Like, it just fit.
I get it.
I don't understand. A lot of people, for some reason, think I don't like Kingdom Hearts. I have played literally every single game in the series. And I played them fully.
Why would you do that to yourself?
I still have no idea what's going on at all. I don't understand what is going on.
So, I mean,
Final Fantasy, at least, is cohesive because it's one single story, usually in one game, even though they typically make a sequel after it, and it ruins everything.
Sense.
But with Kingdom Hearts, it's just... I honestly believe that they started with an idea, and then they realized that they can milk it for a lot of money. So they Star Wars it. They pulled a George Lucas, and they said, all right, let's make point 2. Let's make point...
Okay.
They have Kingdom Hearts... 2.8 is coming out. What is that? What is that? If you played it 4 times already, give us the third one.
I agree with that, but I'm saying 1 and 2, the original, which came out.
PS2.
PS2. Like they were one of the first 2 because I believe Chain of Memories came out around the same time.
Chain of Memories is on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. So I think
Hated that one.
That one, the card thing I didn't like that much, but anyway. The 1 and 2, though, is like the main storyline, so like I really love those, the way those played. The side ones, not as much, but I played them to understand the story more.
Right.
But for me, like, once I got the connection, once you put the pieces together, it makes more sense. Like, you might have to think about it a bit, but I guess that's what I like. I like puzzle stuff, too, so it makes it like a giant puzzle piece that you need all the pieces to put together to understand what's going on. Like, you can maybe miss out on 1 or 2 pieces and still understand, but it's nice to get it all together. Because, like, I played 1, and then I went to 2 afterwards, and then I started as Roxas, which is a separate character than the main character, and I was like...
Wasn't Roxas the main character anyway?
Of the second one?
No, he was the main character. Like, he was literally Sora.
Well, technically, yes. But shut up.
Spoilers.
Didn't Sora... Yeah, spoiler.
I mean,
if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2,
ago.
the 12 times they published it within the last 3 years. So Sora got separated from himself to become himself.
Well, it's because
and then he found himself sleeping, then went inside himself to come back to himself.
He just went inside himself?
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
I mean, you can't say it like that. But...
Yeah, okay. No, and despite everything I just said, I agree with you.
Awesome.
Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 by themselves were good games.
Yes, but that's what I mean. Like, those are my favorite. Don't shake your head at me.
What a peasant.
All right, well, Stefano, you can take your pick now.
Fucking JRPGs.
That being said, I'm sorry
Not
to interrupt.
technically an RPG.
Have you ever played The World Ends With You?
No, that was like a 5-disc game on fucking like Xbox 360, wasn't it?
No, it was on the Nintendo DS.
Oh, which one am I thinking from Xbox 360? Like 5 discs.
The Dragoon?
No.
I can see the Dragoon.
It was P. That's where the P.
I have no idea.
Anyway, it was a really shitty fucking. Anyway, go
yeah.
ahead.
So The World Ends With You, in my opinion, if you haven't played it,
now that I think about it.
probably one of the best games that Square Enix has ever put out, aside from maybe, and this might not even count, aside from maybe Bravely Default. So I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just a little interlude. It just popped into my head. Go ahead. Continue, please.
Files over here.
Talk. Go.
I'm trying.
Stephanie, he's not.
I don't know what's
just
going
called
on.
him Stefano, just so you know. You called Pasquale Stefano, so it's fine.
You wrote the same.
No, that's racist.
That's-
You're a racist.
I mean, 2 Italians against 1 Irish. Like, right now.
That's not. It's a class war.
That didn't make it better, but okay.
I just want to point out that I was not the one to bring up race. So
We're all the same race.
All right.
So mine.
Human.
I didn't know which one I wanted to bring up first. Yeah, so I didn't know. You fucker. I didn't know which one I wanted to bring up first, but I think I'm going to say Halo 3.
Okay.
So everyone's going to be like, well, fucking Halo 2, you idiots. Why are you saying Halo 3? And it's because it's the first Halo I actually like played for myself. Like a bunch of my friends owned Halo 1 and 2, and I played with them. And Halo 2 obviously is like, you know, the champion of online multiplayer when it first started at the very least. And Halo 3 just happened to be the one I played, and I literally like... To give any kind of example of how much I used to play Halo 3, I used to wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning. I used to play till dinner, and then I would eat dinner, maybe have some friends over for about 2 hours, and then I'd play from 8 o'clock till 6 in the morning, and I'd sleep for 3 hours.
I've been there.
So for an entire summer, I probably put in about like 100 and some odd hours into Halo 3. I was so good at that game. So good at that game. And then I stopped playing for 3 months, and I couldn't fucking touch it, and now I get my face blown off.
You can't keep
I'm
up,
just average now, right? But I used to be like really good. Like people used... Anyway,
But
it's like living in your glory days and no one's ever going to believe
What?
me. So,
Power creep.
yeah. What compared to the first 2 made you choose 3 though? Like what's?
honestly, it's nothing other than I put my time into that one. Like that was my own game and it was my own console that I played and put all my time
Everyone
into.
kind of has that.
And also it was kind of like the Xbox 360 for me had a community on it. It was before party chat. Like it was before you had to talk to only your friends and kind of it was a healthier online community. Not that the online community for Halo is ever healthy, but like what I mean is like
They started teabagging.
Yeah, right. Well, that was always happening, but everyone had to talk. If you had a mic and you wanted to talk, you had to talk in the game.
Yeah.
So it forced you to make friends. Like I met a bunch of people that like were really cool and like I talked to a lot that became good friends of mine still while playing Halo 3 and it's because it was before you had a choice to talk with only people you knew or only your friends in a party. And once that happened, the only people that talked online were like stupid prepubescent boys who like talk shit, or like guys who are just talking shit.
I feel like I missed that part of gaming history. That whole like everyone wanting to talk to people.
But you had to.
I know, but like now in like in the current market, in any competitive game, any game where you have the option of talking to somebody in a party chat, you don't, because you don't want to, because it's so cynical and it's so, oh, I did your mother last night, even though she's dead. Like you just have these people that come up, and why would you want to be a part of that? But back when it first started, before I guess we were corrupted by sin. everyone was
Master
nice
Chief
and
was Jesus, and he saved
yeah,
us for a period of time.
So I mean, I miss that.
Well, here's the thing:
I don't have any experiences like that, because even back then, even though I could talk to someone in the party chat, I didn't want to, because I just wanted to play my game. So I never really had that sense of community.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like I don't know why I did it, but like playing along with these people, like they would end up inviting me to like a game or something, and then slowly I just plug my headset in and I would just try to be like a nice person, and every once in a while you'd have someone who's also nice, and then you'd play with them, and you'd just become friends. And now that doesn't really happen because I just talk with you guys. Like, actually, there's no need for me to go in a game and talk to people in the game, because anyone who's talking in that game right now, because there's party chat, is a dick.
But I mean, like,
go ahead.
Okay, to be fair, nowadays, like if I play Destiny and I need a group for something, and we have to find a group, I mean, I'll meet like one or two on occasionally that are actually good, and they're good people. Like, I assume they're good people because when I talk to them, they actually sound like they're nice, they're fun to talk to. Like, it just
but see, you're looking for people that are specifically looking to join that group to do something.
But see, I'll join with that group, then we'll talk, and I'll be like, oh shit, you seem like a cool kind of person, right? So it's like, let's I'll join a friends list, and we'll talk about.
I think I should clarify. I don't mean to say that everybody on the internet is an asshole.
No,
they are.
There are a few people, believe it or not, that are actually genuinely good people.
The minority are
the fact that you are hidden behind a TV screen with a microphone, and there's nothing that people could do for the most part to find where you are and like actually make you accountable for what you just said.
Yeah.
That it gives us this air of security that a lot of people just take advantage of.
The thing is like that before you had you either talked to them or you didn't. So like there was no like, it was just, we were just playing Halo Matchmaker, and we were playing a game of Halo online, and we were all there playing it, so we decided to talk to each other. It's not like in Destiny, like how we met Kembar or whatever, like he's a snarky British fuck. I hope he hears this, you bastard.
It's so weird. You just started talking to me one day, and I felt bad for him, honestly.
Piece of shit. Anyway, he
hates Kembar, we love you.
He sucks. I'm kidding. You're my favorite person.
Second
I wish
favorite.
you were here except for these people. No, I'm kidding.
hate.
10. It's on that list. But for every Kembar, like, there's just non-existent humans. Like,
yeah.
Okay, no.
And that's but you meet Kembar because you have a goal. You all have a goal, so you're going to be nice, and then you end up becoming friends. Whereas in Halo, there was no real goal. They were just random people who happened. Like, you could have never talked to them. It would have been the same thing. You know what I mean? And I guess that's what also you were saying before.
Yeah, I mean, because like in Destiny, for example, if you need a group to go take down orcs in hard mode, you have like a like-minded group set of people that want to do the same goal. So of course they're going to be working together.
Fuck around.
Yeah, everyone's like, okay, we have this goal in mind. We need to work together to do it. So let's actually, well, for the most part, not be assholes to each other. But when you don't have that common goal, and you're just playing the game as you're playing Call of Duty, that's when you have
As an aside, that'll make that,
because then it's a competition.
Yeah,
you're literally fighting the opponents.
Even within your team, it's a competition for the top spot on the list.
Yeah, because it shows you this is how many kills you've gotten. These are your points. This is how good you are compared to everyone else on your team.
And so that brings up the worst in everybody. Right. And that's why I'm kind of intrigued. This has nothing to do with our topic, but like,
what is our topic at this point?
It doesn't exist. It's fine. But that's why the division is going to be kind of super interesting because
I'm going to kill
you're a piece of shit.
Everyone.
You guys,
you're in a group of people you can't kill them.
But here's the point. Here's the point in the division. You can actually, as a mechanic in the game, you can screw over your friend to better yourself.
Yes.
If you get something that I really want,
life too, but do you do that?
It's a game. I can do whatever I want, which is a good segue if we were like half an hour into the show. But if you pick up something that I really want, I could just kill you and take it. What is the detriment to me?
Which should be a thing.
I can see you in person and will punch you square.
But you won't.
But
Let's
see,
not
okay.
test that theory, okay? Because there's a very high chance I might actually punch you. We meet once a week for this podcast now. Do not doubt
You're
the
dead.
fact that I might punch you right in the face.
You're in my house, buddy.
If he starts talking like by the third week, like blah blah blah, it's because he doesn't have teeth.
It's gonna be RumblePac episode 4, and I'm just gonna be gone.
We replace Patrick with this plastic bag.
We can't see him, but I'll
Crumple,
ruffle
crumple.
Yeah, I'll ruffle every few minutes to make it seem
You're gonna
like
cut
he's
the
there.
audio cues from this episode just to like make me appear to be in the future.
Yeah, it's not gonna fake it. So okay, yeah. So Halo, from my experiences and just how much time I put into it.
Can we make a soundboard?
Yeah, of course.
I
we
want a
can make
Patrick here.
soundboard.
I'll give you some clips right now. I disagree. That's wrong, Stefano. Nintendo's the best. What are you saying?
That's the best one. That
There you go.
have to
That's
be there.
believable.
I
I'm so
was
sweet.
waiting for that one. Yeah, so Halo 3 is my choice. Patrick, what's your next one?
Okay, so personal again. I've always been a fan of the roguelike genre, so I have to give it to like what is currently the leading king in the roguelike genre. It's The Binding of
Roguelike.
Isaac.
Of course.
Rogue Legacy isn't a roguelike game.
What?
Rogue Legacy is not a roguelike game.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
No,
like-
it's not.
It's
the
randomly
name-
generated levels
The
with
name
random
Rogue
like
Legacy
characters.
does not come from the fact that it is a roguelike in the traditional sense, because in a typical roguelike, you are punished for death. In Rogue Legacy, and I'm going to get technical on this, in Rogue Legacy, you were rewarded for death. You need to die in order to progress and actually move through the story. If it's a typical standard roguelike, that will never be the case. The reason why it is called Rogue Legacy, and a lot of people don't know this, is that the first character that you start off with is a rogue. And every character after is a member of his family, a descendant. So it is literally the rogue's legacy moving through the game. It's not a roguelike in the typical description of what a roguelike is. Rogue Legacy does not fit.
My
So,
understanding of what a rogue... Sorry, Pasquale. My understanding of what a roguelike is randomly generated mission level segments.
For the most part,
Okay,
yeah.
well, give us a description then, like what roguelike
If
means.
that's what the description of roguelike is, then that is what...
A roguelike
Legacy
is a game where you do have procedurally generated enemies, levels, maps. Typically, the one deciding factor of what makes a game a roguelike is if it's based off of the game Rogue, which was an old game that nobody played. I enjoyed it though, but it's
Of course you did.
it's a punishment for dying. If you die, you lose everything, and that's it. In Rogue Legacy, if you die, you have to die to spend your money to upgrade your shop to get more powers. It's part of the game. It's roguelike in the sense that it is procedurally generated, yes, but it's not a roguelike in the sense that it takes away the risk and the punishment.
Well, there is a risk component in the sense that, like, if you die and you had a really good power set, you don't necessarily keep it. Like, you can choose to keep it if you have.
Well,
certain
power
amount of
set in
points or
that game,
whatever.
it only comes down to what your hero had as traits.
But yeah,
That's it. Like all the
but those are
gear,
randomly
all
generated every
the
time you die.
they are, but then again, you get to pick too. When you come back, you get a set between like 3 or 4 characters, and you could pick if one is colorblind and dyslexic, you probably don't want that. But if one has giganticism and super strength, you'll take that one. You don't typically have that in a roguelike. But yeah, you don't lose anything. You keep all your gear, you upgrade your castle, and you keep all that. But yeah. Anyway,
Binding of Isaac.
back
Go
to
on.
my game. Speaking of which, yeah, I would have to give it to Binding of Isaac. It just the replayability and I like it because I look at the Binding of Isaac as a game of chess. I honestly do, because every
Wacky,
single game,
ancestral chess.
yeah, every single game
Incestual.
is
You're in your mother's
winnable. You can
body.
win.
Womb.
Well, yeah, you do go into your mother to kill her heart, which is in her womb, and which turns out to be you.
That's a whole different story.
I'm not a biology student, but I don't think that's how it works. But anyway, it's every game. It's the high learning curve. You need to learn what every single item does, how they interact with each other, how they interact with specific characters, permutations that might show up, and even future building. Like, you could take one item that might be completely useless to you now, but you're like, okay, but if I get this one thing maybe in a couple floors and I become a god.
Right, well, that's the one thing that bothers me about that, is because you never know what the hell's going to come up. So it's just like...
But that's the beauty of it, because there are ways to get what you want out of it if you understand how to break everything. Like, if you understand how the game works and if you understand the underlying mechanics, you could get whatever you want. I could become Guppy any run, because I know where to look for it and I know how to get these items. I could build a run, even though it is RNG and even though it is procedurally generated, and even though you never know what you're going to get. Once you get a feel of what is happening and you have enough knowledge in the game of how to play it, you could pull out whatever you want from it. And I think that's what I like about it, the fact that I could play it over and over and over again, and it's always something different and it's always a new challenge. I have, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, I have over 800 hours collectively in this game with the original, the Rebirth, and now Afterbirth that came out just a couple.
I think it would be good to point out that
they called their game After.
Yeah, get ready for Stillbirth. Anyway, but between that, even though I have like these hundreds of hours in this game, I still learn things, and I'm still surprised. I'm like, I never knew this happened. That is true. And for me, that's yeah.
I'd also like to point out that he has like platinum in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're gonna learn about
to show
me,
how crazy he is.
What you're gonna learn about me is that I don't value like gameplay is important to me, but it definitely doesn't hold king for any of my choices, and you're gonna see that shortly, I'm sure. For me, it's story and experiences.
Yeah.
And so you're probably gonna be like, how the fuck is it on your list when all these other games exist? And because like I would never consider a game like.
See, that's fair.
And not because I don't like it. It's a great game, but I couldn't.
And see, I understand that. Like, for me personally, I would like a game to have a good story because I am investing my time in that, right? Like, Life is Strange.
Oh.
Fantastic story. Even though I will say the ending disappointed me. I don't want to get into it for people that haven't played it, but I did not like the ending.
There will be a video where we talk about
eventually.
But I mean, mechanically, Life is Strange wasn't really that impressive.
It wasn't good,
but it was just the story is so compelling. It's just like, what's going to happen next? Like,
it did Walking Dead games and David Cage games better than they do. So.
Yes, that's the thing. Like for Telltale, like they're okay, but I feel like it just did it a little better.
Telltale's mechanics are literally shit tier. Like I could.
Well, that's the thing. It's not about gameplay. It's just about the story.
Okay, but even the way fair, but it shouldn't crash my system or crash game saves.
Oh no,
no. Well, I'm not.
That's just them not optimizing.
But I'm saying even the way it told the story, it seemed to tell it better than a Telltale game would have told it. It just felt more natural, I guess.
Well, we're not gonna.
That's
for another time.
Yeah.
So we are half an hour in.
That's fine.
And we are at 2 games?
Yeah, it's good. Good.
Should we continue this maybe next episode?
No.
We all do 2?
We'll do 2, and then we'll do 2 next week, and then we'll finish on the episode 3, which will be our number 1 game ever.
Just of all time.
All right. So, you just do your second one.
All right, so I love stealth, okay?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know Patrick does not like it whatsoever, because he has an aneurysm every time it comes up in a game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but so I'm going to have to say one of my top stealth games is going to have to be Splinter Cell. I'm thinking Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is maybe one of the top favorites.
That's the one with the turtles, right?
That's the one with the computers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What, the computers?
So, I feel like 1 and 2 were awesome. Like, I like the new ones too. It's just, the new ones don't feel as comfortable, I guess, is a word I can use, as that one did. Because this one felt like it optimized the way stealth worked and the way and look and feel the way it played. It just felt comfortable. Like the dark grittiness of the game itself, it just made it look so much better, feel more comfortable, and it just played very nicely.
I mean, okay, like I don't disagree with you, but like it's not the other games were bad though. Like, and they felt fine.
They were all good.
Like, I feel like the newest one was probably the closest one to Chaos Theory, but like...
Yes, that would be my second choice.
But technically, the gameplay, as far as how the game played, like, as much as they were more action-oriented, they weren't stealth games, like, they felt better because they had a chance to actually create mechanics that made sense. Like, the other one came out on original Xbox, right?
Yeah,
Chaos Theory, and PS2, but Chaos Theory and...
Well, they all came out back then, but I'm saying... If those games were made nowadays with updated graphics but play exactly the same way, I think it would still do very well.
I just can't
remakes,
stand,
huh?
I can't,
okay, but
we'll get there.
Yeah,
I can't stand the mechanics. Like, just like playing Metal Gear Solid 2. Like I tried to play the original Metal Gear Solid games and I couldn't do it because the gameplay felt stiff.
Okay,
is that a problem you find going back? to it? You've gone back to play it.
Yeah, when you go back to play it, does feel stiff because if you compare it to games nowadays where things feel very fluid and easy to run through and like just moving in general, it's just like since it was made on like a reduced what's the word system, I guess. It just didn't have the capabilities that it has nowadays. So I'm saying if it was made where it would feel more smooth and just look a lot better, but still with gameplay and story and everything the same, I think it would still do very well. Like it just, for me personally, like because the new one you can have stealth, but you can also have assault and just do whatever you want. Like I like that, but I mean like. Personally, I like when it makes me sometimes do stealth because I just like to overcome the challenge of that.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So you don't like that in the new ones, like in the new Hitman games and the new Metal Gear games,
Like-
that gives you an option to just blow people away with a gun,
Like,
kind of thing.
I like it. I'm just saying, like, because especially since it's open for a more wide variety of people to play. But I'm just saying, personally, I like to have to do the stealth. Like, even if it's a game where it gives me the option, I choose stealth because I'm like, it just feels more fun to overcome like the obstacles that are in front of you and just sneaking through and letting, like, if you want to kill everybody and make it quiet and have nobody find any bodies, that's like the best thing and nobody knows you're there. But you can also sneak through, not killing anybody, do your mission, and just be like, I know everything now, but they had no idea it was there. Just in my mind, it's like, it's cool like that.
See, if that were an Isaac game, you wouldn't know all the levels.
You'd also hate your fucking life.
I'd also be killing myself.
I played. I think it's not even a stealth game. I only kill myself every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's a good choice. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I get what you mean. I feel like I don't know. Like,
it's just the feel. Like, I don't like. It's hard to explain the feeling.
No, I get. So you're saying that, like, do you don't think that it affects the gameplay changing and, like, not being as good now? Doesn't change your opinion of it at all?
What, you mean the newest Splinter Cell?
No, like going back and playing the old game.
Okay.
Does it change your perspective on it now?
Maybe a little bit, just because it feels stiffer and it's made on like a lower engine, like a slower engine. It's like not as powerful as the stuff they have nowadays, but it's still it's very fun for me.
See, I don't know. Can you do that? Like, typically when I look at games, especially games that came out in past generations, I tend to look at each generation as its own collection. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't think it's fair to compare things that are out now on the PS4, Xbox 360, well, Wii U to an extent, to things that came out on the PS2.
No, I totally,
in terms of, like...
I don't disagree.
Yeah, me too, but it's just the way it feels, like, it's just something about it.
So my question, I guess, is, but when I ask you that, is in the sense of, like, it's almost impossible to not compare it, though, because, like, for example, everyone's like, play Metal Gear games, they're amazing. But I went back to try and play Metal Gear HD Collection, and playing Metal Gear Solid 2, I couldn't fucking do it. Because a mission of mine,
well, I think that's it.
Metal Gear.
You never played it when it came out.
Yeah.
You're used to what we have now.
So that's an issue.
But so we're constantly... The game community development programs, the way they work is that we're constantly advancing. Everyone is like, look at how good this game looks. Man, remember when games used to look like this? We're constantly like, oh wow, what's the next one going to look like? What are games going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years when they're implanted into our brains?
Just
what are they
gonna
going
be
to
real
look
people.
like? We're constantly in that state of mind. We're programmed to think that, oh, this one looks nicer, this one runs better, this one is smoother. It must be great. We're programmed. And then when we go back and we look at games that started it, not necessarily, maybe the first in a series or maybe one-offs, we compare what we know. It's like, well, they could have optimized this so much better. Why is it limited in the number of color palettes that they use? Why is it's the same song over and over? And we can't do that. We have to be impartial. We have to be indifferent. We have to separate what we currently have to what we had. Because if you were to compare any game in a franchise that came out today, in today's time, Final Fantasy 15 looks beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy, but I can't wait to play that one. But if you were to compare that back to like 7 or 6, or even if we go back to 3 when it was 8-bit, 16-bit, you can't do that. You have to see each game as they are independently for what they are when they came out, and you have to assume how that was in that current timeline.
I mean, I agree to an extent, but not all the way, because... And it kind of happened once we became three-dimensional in the way we would play games. Like, once PS1 and 64 happened, is because you added another dimension. You go back and you play side-scrollers, Super Mario Original NES will always be the best side-scroller, because gameplay was king back then. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how... It could look... It could be like a block running like Mario runs. It would still be just as great as it is.
Right.
And I'll never go back and change my mind on that, because... that gameplay is still valuable now. It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
The moment you add another dimension and the way you maneuver those dimensions, that's when it becomes a little more complicated. So that's why when I go back and I play these games, my memory of them being this fun, and I'm sure they were fun for the time. Yeah. If I go back and play them and try and re-give them an opinion, like if I have never played them before, and I go back and play Shadow of the Colossus now, it's going to be shit.
Like, I mean...
that game plays like dick. No offense to everyone who loves Shadow of the Colossus.
It's a good game. It's just...
It's a fantastic game.
It was great when it came out. But now
Right.
that game does not play properly.
Well, if you go back to the original Super Mario Brothers, the controls are god awful.
Okay, but see,
Which
that's the
one
thing.
are you talking about?
We've been spoiled now.
You're right. The Super Mario Bros. #1, the one that came out on the NES, the one where you, the original
that
one,
game controls great. There's two buttons.
the one where you can't go back.
But it still controls so. That's a mechanic that made it more difficult and was annoying. But in the theory of the
but even the physics to it. It's not what people are used to in today's Mario.
Okay,
No, but
when you jump, you had more weight to
who
it.
even played the other ones, and they could still play that game. But if you, like I
Right.
said,
Well, you could give Shadow of the Colossus to anyone, and they could still play it.
but they won't enjoy it. You'll still enjoy it. They might enjoy it.
That's not true.
Well, you don't
Because it's a totally different game than games nowadays.
If you have mechanics that
literally
are
just
annoying.
bosses. So I don't think there's
Yeah,
not been any other game that's just like
the
that.
fighting mechanics weren't as smooth.
Okay, but that's the thing. We're
So now
spoiled nowadays with.
That's fine. I'm not saying the game's bad.
Yeah.
I'm saying to go back and it's not. It's hard to not.
I
to be
totally
subjective.
understand.
I understand
It's
what
hard
you're
to not
saying.
be
Yeah.
subjective.
I'm just saying, even though it's hard to
It's
not
almost
be
impossible.
objective, you need to
Sorry,
keep that in
objective.
mind. You could be objective. You could be like, well, I like this more. Why can't I like this more? Are you saying my opinion's wrong? No, not at all. But you do have to keep in mind that you can't compare like, oh, the first Assassin's Creed was shit. It was. It played horribly. It did. It looked shit. It does. But you can't compare that because when it came out, it was, and I hate this word, but it was a pioneer in what
That is
became
true.
after it.
You can. So I guess it's the problem is you can like a game for what it did to the time, but it doesn't make it better than the new ones. That
I
came
agree
out.
with that 100%.
Yeah.
I still think some of the best games ever made are the ones that came out years and years ago.
Also,
No, I can't. No, I can't say that though.
Okay,
because games are constantly, in theory, getting better. Now, maybe not in premise, maybe not in but because technology gets better, and because everyone who played those games are now making games, it's an evolutionary step. Like, people look at me and say Citizen Kane is one of the best movies of all time. Like, you guys are fucking cracked. That movie's boring, and it was shot wide-angled, and there was no
But
depth
then
of
that
field.
goes back to what I said. You have to look at it in perspective for
See,
when it came out.
that's
and,
why
and
I'm-
the audience that watched it.
not even.
I'm
that.
not saying personally I didn't like Citizen Kane,
But
I do
can't-
understand why it gets its
But
praise.
I understand why it's important, but to say that it's better than movies now is a lie. You're
No,
just being
it's
pretentious.
to say that it's better than movies now is to be coming from their point of view, which you don't agree with, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I
But,
just
but
think-
you can't say that they're being pretentious because they don't align to what you believe.
But you
I
also have to
it's
think of the
I
person's
think it's
mindset.
nostalgic. Like, I think a lot of people remember things better based on what they thought it was,
oh yeah, of course.
not
to-
what it is.
You have to think of the
Everyone
person's
says
mindset.
Fallout 4 looks like Fallout 3, but
Which
it
I don't
doesn't.
believe.
It's what you think Fallout 3 looked like when it came out. That's what Fallout 4 looks like because you remember it looking this good. But
Yeah.
because in your mind that's what it looked like.
Because you
to
wanted
that
it to
was the
look
only
better.
Game that looked like that when it came
Yeah.
out. When you think about, I used to play the wrestling games for PS2, and I'm like, oh fuck, wrestling! Oh my
Yes.
god, it looks like the real dude on the screen. Dude, it was made like a triangle. It looked nothing like the real.
I'm
dude.
pretty sure back when Tomb Raider came out and Lara Croft had the triangle tits.
The
Yeah,
triangle-
people were like, "Holy shit, this looks so good!" Like now,
This is the future.
this is the
Yeah.
future. Now
Looks
we're like,
just like you, honey. Oh, thanks, babe. Like,
now we're like, all right, we're retarded. Apparently, like we're stupid.
No, we're not. It's just that's
so
Exactly. That's
people
what.
have.
That's our mindset at the time. That's what we're thinking of.
But
That's
my
what we're
issue
exposed
is
to.
that people will go out and say new games suck, new games nowadays aren't as good because of
'cause
X, Y, Z. Like, you're just remembering
They're also living in
what
the
it
past.
was like. Yeah, what it was like to play those games back then.
I think it's just
And so
like,
to value a game for what it was and to value a game for what it is now are not the same things in my head.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But
right.
It was great for what it was.
You could have games that haven't aged well. Mario 64, in my opinion, a fantastic game. If you play it today, it hasn't aged well. It
It's-
looks
but-
horrible. The color palettes are off, but it was
Super
for
Mario
what
World
it was.
did age well.
But Super Mario, but then again, you're I don't know. It's
I go back
different
and play the
because
game
if you
all
look
the
at Super
time.
Mario World, you have it's a side scroller. It's flat. It's what was it, 32-bit, right?
That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
So
those games
that
age
art
so
style
easily.
easily because it doesn't that form of game died.
But I mean,
it's done.
Well, they didn't die. People still make
Well,
them.
you can't advance
But
it
there's no
anymore.
improving-
Like, where are you going to
exactly.
go from there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could add more and more, make the sprites more. What was it? Oh man, Metal Gear, not Metal Gear. Whatever. Look up 8-bit games. Look up pretty 8-bit games. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's for the most part it's a dead art
Look up
style, right?
8-bit games.
Shovel Knight came out, and it looks perfectly at home
But
on
that's-
the Super NES,
it's
and it looks good.
it's not an 8-bit though. Like
If-
it's
No, okay, but that's not what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
It's like you
If you
can't
put that
compare
8-bit
it.
and put it on the NES, it would make sense. I get what you're trying to
yeah,
say.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, because that art style hasn't really been progressed anymore. Someone died in my house.
Jeez.
But anyway, yeah. But anyway, so your game.
Anyway, so Splinter Cell. Continue next.
So everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why is this one of your top 5 games?" But Gone Home is gonna be my next top 5 games.
Really?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Okay, it's not gameplay is like it's not even like people don't even call it a game, you know? Like it's a walking simulator, but like it's what it did. Like if you went to that game not knowing what it was about, that it shocked the shit out of you. Like I didn't tell Pasquale what it was about, and he was saying like, "What is this? What's happening?" Like he didn't like it as much as I did.
Yeah, I was convinced through the whole time that it was like a horror game or something, where something was going to jump out at some point.
And that's the beauty of this game. It sets you up, and it sets you up on all the video game cues for what you think a game should be in this setting.
So why don't you explain a little bit about what the game actually is?
The game essentially is your first person. It's a first person perspective, essentially adventure game. You just walk around, you look at clues around your house because when you come home, you were gone for a year, away to Europe, and you're a daughter of a family. You have a sister that lived there, and you come home and no one's home, and no one came to pick you up, and no one's answering their messages, and so you're very confused. And you show up and you go inside the house. You find the whole point of the game is it's a new house. You've never lived in this house. So you lived in a house before you left, and then your parents moved with your sister. And so this is a whole new house and a whole new environment that you have to figure out. And so as the player and as the character, you are exploring this house. And so the game sets up cues throughout the entire thing that lets you believe that there is some extraterrestrial force. Or not necessarily extraterrestrial, but ghosts. There's a paranormal force that is causing something that happened to your family. I'm not going to spoil the game because it's amazing. But there's, in my opinion at least, these clues and the cues. Like, for example, is one of the cues, you go into the bathroom, into your sister's bathroom in her bedroom. By the way, this house is a freaking mansion. If I lived in America, I'd be assaulted over there, apparently. This house is a mansion. And you walk in and you go to the bathroom and there's red all over the bathroom, like the bathtub. And you're like, holy crap, what's going on? Like, did someone like murder my sister in this bathtub? And then you look at it and you're like, that's a little bit too red. And you look under the bathtub and there's a red hair dye tube. And it does that all over this game. Like, you find a secret compartment and there's a Ouija board. And you're like, oh man, that means there's going to be a ghost or something. And like, and there isn't. That's never a thing that happens. And the interesting thing about this game I've always felt is that you go through this house and there are things that some people will never find. There's a certain amount of clues that you'll never find, maybe you'll never figure out that happens. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it really connects you to the story of someone who's, first of all, confused, but also it connects you to the story of your sister, which you're reading like audio diaries of. Or not reading them, but you're listening to audio diaries that she's left you in tape cassettes. And also, as an aside, I'm a really nostalgic person and love the 90s, and it's based in 1994 when I was born, so like, maybe that's why I love it as much as I do, but... So you're going through this story of like how your sister figures out that she's like a lesbian with her best friend, and so you're going through
Spoilers.
Yeah, jeez.
It's totally fine. I've already spoiled everything.
Yeah, I guess.
We
should put a spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'll put a spoiler. We'll put a spoiler alert at the beginning.
When did this game come out?
Like 3 or 4 years ago.
No, you're good then.
That's okay.
Yeah. So
this will be our general rule. If a game has come out
more than 3 years.
We'll do 3 years.
3 years?
3 years, and we'll just talk about it. But if it's something recent...
The game is 2 hours long, so I mean...
Okay,
Hey.
2-hour games are good, but also... I don't know if you had anything else to say, but I had a different experience. I don't know if it's because I played it with you there. I feel like that's a game you need to play alone.
Part of it was...
own house.
I totally agree. Part of it was that I led you up to that game saying, oh my god, this game's amazing.
Yeah.
You had to play it. So that already set a bar in your head of what it should be.
Right.
And then you also sat there with me, essentially waiting for you to play it in an environment that wasn't... Like, it's a stupid word to use, but it's an intimate game in my head. Like, you get this setting that is, you're alone there in the setting, and you should be alone when you play it, so that way you can absorb and really explore the area. And when you're not doing that by yourself, it doesn't feel right, because...
Yeah. Also, like, I played on PC. For me, playing PC games, I feel like I have to be comfortable. When I'm sitting in a chair just playing a game on a PC, I don't feel comfortable. So if I'm, like, playing on a console, I'm leaning back, comfortable, feet up, whatever. It immerses me more into the game. But, so, like, playing that sitting up straight...
You know you could buy a nice chair,
I could,
right?
but I mean, like, also,
it's not that hard.
I feel like it's just me uncomfortable mouse and keyboard. I don't know. It doesn't feel as natural.
So it breaks your immersion.
It breaks my immersion. So if I have a controller where I can just sit there, like my hands are close together but I'm still moving, but it feels like I'm just watching a movie almost. Yeah. My hands aren't moving around so much. But it's just like, plus the environment. If I was sitting in a dark room where I was comfortable watching it, like playing it for the first time with no idea of what was going to happen, I feel like it would have had a lot more impact on me than it did the way I played it.
Well, here's the thing about that game, just as like perspective for you guys. It came out at the same time GTA 5 first came out, and all those games came out that year, and this game was still my game of the year when it came out. So, like, it had a serious... and, you know, like, maybe it had something to do with the setting, and maybe it had something to do with the era that it was set in. And I was watching Freaks and Geeks when I started playing this game. Like, that's... like, everything was just kind of, like, lined up for this game, and that made me like it. Maybe that's what it is. And I'm, like, a super nostalgic person, and, like, that's... I can't even begin to discuss how terrible it is for me, but...
I feel like games, the way you enjoy them more are based on your experiences in life.
Right.
So, like...
Well, when you have a story-based game... Typically, like now with games, they want to be like super intimate. Which you're right, using that word makes me feel weird. But they want to pull you in. So they typically make the characters and the surrounding of the characters have to deal with
relatable,
aimed at the people that they want to play. Like you said, right? So you're a '90s kid, so they set the game in the '90s.
I'm not even really a '90s because I was born in 1994. Like there are people born in 1985.
Look, it's fine.
Like,
you can be born in 2000 and still be a '90s kid. It's an idea. It's a way of life.
It's a way of life.
I'm so glad you say that because everyone fucking talks shit.
No, but I mean that's the thing. Like they want you to relate to the game, so they make the character you. Right?
Yeah. So
that's why like. I'm sorry, look, I'm going to do this. That's why when you go back to Nintendo and they make, like, you do Legend of Zelda, right? There's a reason why Link never talks. Because they want you to be
your Link.
Okay, look.
Yeah!
No.
Yeah!
That's not what I mean.
But, like...
Excuse me, princess.
Those never happen. But there's a reason why he doesn't talk. Because they want you to be him. If they give him a character... then they're changing what it is. And then it's like, well, this is not how I imagined him to be, especially now that he's been around for like almost...
That's why those TV shows or whatever
never worked out. Once you start the game with a non-vocalized character, and you do so many games where you're not vocalized, it's done. It's
also,
but I mean, even if you bring it towards, like, today, like, when you give a character a voice, you're giving a character personality, right? So there's a difference between having your audience engaged in a game and having the character engaged. Because I'm playing, like I said, Far Cry 4. I don't care about anything that's happening in that game. My character is determined as hell to free Karat. I just want to rip down posters and finish the game. like I'm not engaged at all. I'm just doing it. That
story didn't engage you. Like, for example, me and Squad are playing Fallout, and to me, that game, now that it has a voice, is that much more engaging.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Well, that's what I said. There's a difference between engaging you as a player and engaging you, the character, who's just...
Yeah, an engaged character does not mean an engaged...
Right.
Yeah.
And then there are games where the character doesn't even care about what's going on. And then you're like, okay, well, cool.
Which kind of might engage you because you might not care too. So it's like, shit, I love this guy.
Why does this guy not care?
Yeah.
He's my spirit animal.
None of us care that the world's ending. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Whatever. The world's ending. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Loop.
So, yeah.
All right, so about 50 minutes in, and we finished our first topic.
I knew this one's going to be long, but I think it was important that we did it first.
I think
that was 2 each, right?
2 each, so we'll do 2 more next week. And, maybe next week we'll put a little bit more thought into it and have it a little bit more compressed because this was a bit too long. And then in episode 3, we'll have our number 1 of all time. And I think we'll save the number 1 of all time till the end of the show.
Yeah, what if one of the ones we said might be one of all time?
And then we fight each other.
Well, that's already happening, but...
No, I mean to the death.
I mean, isn't that happening? That's just okay. Just slowly we're killing each other.
That's why this one does not have any recordings, so you don't see what we're actually doing.
So
spoiler note: 2 of the 3 of us won't be back.
So since that's going to be Patrick's both of our second or first topic, Patrick will now introduce his second topic.
Right. So there's been a surprising trend in the marketplace, and I guess it comes with the territory, and it also comes with the fact that video games have now been around for quite a while, but. Remakes and reboots. When are they warranted? When do they deserve to pop up? And why is Sony on a quest to remake every single PS3 game? So here's my thing. Like I said, if you remember back to the long soliloquy I had, I like looking at games for when they are. I think that if a game came out for, let's say, the PS2, the GameCube, whatever, then they were designed for that audience at that time for that specific machine. When you take that and you remake it and you bring it into the future. or to the future. God, what am I saying?
To the present.
If you turn it into a game for now, why?
Next gen
Like, I understand, like, well, maybe some people didn't experience, some people didn't enjoy it. Okay, they could play it. There are emulators. They could play it for free. Why do you have to bring it forward? And recently, in the recent Nintendo Direct, they announced that Twilight Princess will be remade for the Wii U. It looks horrible. It looks like... Why?
That's an
Why
issue.
are they remaking? And they're remaking a lot of Zelda games. Some of them were warranted. I enjoyed Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. Majora's Mask. A lot of people wanted that. That's fine. But now you have Twilight Princess, and I'm looking at them like, I'm not excited for this. I played it on the Wii. I was excited to play it. I liked it, but I don't want to play it again. But now even games, what is it, on December 22nd, I think it is, Beyond Two Souls is coming out.
That's a waste of time.
Why? But see, yeah.
I kind of like the game originally, but see, also, I feel like if you're going to make a remake, there has to be a certain amount of time span between the remake and the original game.
Well, here's my question. What would you two prefer, personally? Like, would you rather a company remakes a game that you have already played? Or even, maybe, let's throw that out, because then I'm being biased. A game that you've never played, you heard about it, you might have been interested, you might have not been interested. Or would you just prefer for them to spend that time and resources making a new game?
Okay, personally, I would want both, but like the way it happens is just like there's times like when you're back then you're a kid, for example, playing. If I was playing Ocarina of Time,
right?
But let's say as a kid, I never got the opportunity to play it,
right?
So now, as I'm older, I'm like, now I have money, I can buy it for myself, whatever. But it might be difficult to find an N64 if you're going to play it on the original console. Or if they remake it, you can still get the new console and play it on there. But it also has
or you could go online, emulate it, and play it for free.
Yeah, but the emulators are also not the greatest.
Like, I understand
it
sometimes
ruins the experience.
Like I've never played. I never played any of the Uncharted games because I got into the PS3 late. They did remake all three of them, but I still don't. Like, I have no interest in picking it up. So, maybe it's because like the game already came out and I just don't care.
Possibly. It's also, like, the reason they do release is to make you... It's for the people who are older now that played it when they were younger, because they want them to remember. Also, it's, like, getting money, obviously, but they want them to re-experience it with updated graphics and engines and all that stuff, right?
Right.
So, but also...
But then who are they making it for?
So
the people that have... people that have played it, or people that have never played it?
It's literally for everybody, because if I've never played it before, I'm like, shit, I was thinking about this when I was younger and I never got the chance. I'm going to pick it up now.
Right, but if you haven't played it before, and let's say that it came out at a time where you could have gotten it, but you didn't, so why would you want to play it now?
Because the reasoning behind getting it isn't necessarily wanting. It could be affording, it could be another console.
Right, yeah. Right, but what I'm saying is you had all the financial sources to get it. You just didn't get it, and now it's coming out again. So are they making? So are remakes?
See, that's a small portion of people
picked and choose because they have to obviously pick a game. What are we going to remake? What are we going to bring forward? Are they making it for the people that have already played it so they could revisit it, like The Last of Us? So, I've never played The Last of Us. I played it for the first time. I played it for the first time on the PS4, and it was fantastic. So I'm glad that was a game that they brought forward to the PS4 because I would have never had a chance to play it.
Yeah.
So something like that, I'm glad. But I think they're getting a little remake crazy.
No, they absolutely are. But here's the thing: like, I'm on two lines, and different companies do it for different reasons. But I feel like companies like Nintendo, they thrive off a young audience.
Yes.
And they already have games that are made for younger people that existed when we were kids, right? Ocarina of Time, Super Mario. All these games, they exist and were good to us and reason why we play video games now, but we play them as children. And so we're now having children. And we're going to want our kids to also play video games.
Yes.
So they're going to remake and be like, look, Daddy played this game when he was like 7, and you're like 7, so here, play Ocarina of Time for the 10 billionth time on the 10 billionth console. And as someone who's 21 years old and is like, I don't fucking care about Ocarina of Time on 3DS, DS, Wii U, like fucking my penis, apparently. Like, I don't care about Ocarina of Time anymore. I didn't care about it when I was a kid, personally, but even if you did, like, it's just like, I don't need to see this anymore. And that's from my perspective. But from someone who's 35, has a child that's 7 years old now or whatever, they're like, wow, I play this. I want my kid to also experience this.
Yeah.
And so that's my opinion on why Nintendo does it.
So it's almost like how Disney takes a movie out of the vault and they remake it and they put it back out.
Exactly like that.
But see, that's the thing. Ocarina of Time, when was that made? 90...
Oh,
90 something, right?
Get it wrong.
But I feel like there has to be a certain time span between it, because, like, the Uncharted series, the third one came out 2010, I want to say?
Yeah.
Say 5 years, that is...
Sure.
Sure.
As you can tell, we check our sources on this podcast. We thrive ourselves on accuracy.
But 5 years separation, that is hardly enough time. You need minimum 10 years, I think.
Well, no,
really
it's more than enough time because it came out on the last system and nobody has it anymore because it never happened. So they need to remake every single game so that you could appreciate... And because there are... I'm not saying there's not good games on last-gen systems, not at all, but you know, people have moved on now. Sony put out the stats that like 80% of people that own a PS4 have never played a Uncharted game.
So that's my exact point, is that, and that's what I was going to say, Sony's reasoning is very different. And you notice Xbox doesn't have as many remakes, and that's because...
They do, however, have fucking... every single game that Rareware made, and I hate them for that.
Yeah.
And they also
have a better Nintendo 64 collection than actual Wii U.
But that's besides the point. So here's the thing: like for PlayStation, they had a console that no one bought at first. Right?
The
PS3.
PS3.
PS3 did not sell well at the beginning. Like, it didn't sell terribly. People bought it like
not at all.
Yeah.
But it didn't sell great. Like Xbox was like destroying
picked
it
up later.
Essentially, what PS4 is doing to Xbox One right now
that's
what
yes.
that's what Xbox 360 did to PS3. And so they have this giant market that is now buying their consoles. And like you said, 80% of them never played the Uncharted series. Like that's like their landmark game. That is like what makes PlayStation PlayStation. So now they're like, well, what are we going to do? We need to advertise a game. No one that never played Uncharted is going to come and play Uncharted 4.
Because
that doesn't make any sense.
The thing is...
So we're like, okay, let's release this game and make sure everyone knows why this game is great. And if they went back and played Uncharted 1, they'd be like, why am I throwing a grenade by lobbing my fucking controller forward?
So you think that remakes can be used as just extremely effective marketing tools?
That's absolutely what it is.
That's all it is.
It's a main reason
case
for
by
it.
case basis. I could not sit here and tell you that all remakes are bad and all remakes are good because some people suck and make stupid remakes.
That's true, yeah.
But
it also depends on who's in charge of actually making the remake.
The God of War 3 remake for PS4 is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
They're making one? I didn't even know.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
That game came out, what, like... It looked great on
It was
PS3. It's not going to look any
8
different on
34.
PS4, and why would you bring out the third one?
Only the third one?
That's only the
Yeah,
third
see,
one.
that's a stupid thing, because at least Uncharted, they brought out all three.
And
because
not to mention that character sucks, and fuck God of War anyway.
Hang on. The Uncharted series, so if they had only, like, because the third one came out towards the end of the... not really.
The end.
Not even towards the end, but it was starting... It was at a point where everybody was starting to buy a PS4, a PS3 more. So it's like, not at the beginning where the first one was, where it was like not as much as Xbox. So that's why now that the PS4 is coming out a lot more, they're not going to just want to play the third one just because it's like, what the hell
You know
is
what would have
this?
solved all of these problems?
Backwards compatibility.
Exactly.
Xbox.
Yeah. How much you want to bet that Xbox, they were working on backwards compatibility. Like it was in the design from the very beginning. But Sony announced, PS4 is not going to have any backwards compatibility. So Xbox is like, oh yeah, we don't have that either. But then they waited. They fucking sat on it like a bomb at E3 and like, oh, by the way. And they played themselves up. We worked really hard. We didn't think we would be able to do it. But guess what? We're going to give you backwards compatibility with your Xbox One.
Look, I'm not an engineer.
Boom!
I'm not an engineer, but I understand that it would probably be very difficult in the sense of like, I want you to remember the PS3 and number $599 US. And like, Jesus. Remember how expensive that was? That was crazy. It was $700 for a console. Like, put a bullet in my brain. But like, that console was a PS3, a Blu-ray player, and a PS2 stuffed into a box.
Yeah.
That's why it looked like a George Foreman grill.
That's
like,
also the reason it was so expensive.
Well, that's what made the PS2 so successful. It was a Blu-ray player.
DVD player.
DVD
Oh,
player.
you're right. I'm so sorry. Go on. Wait. Yeah,
Blu-ray
right.
didn't exist.
Look, it's the same thing. It's a disc. It played special discs that showed you moving pictures.
Yeah.
That's what made the PS2 so
PS2
successful. People bought it as like a really cheap DVD player.
Yeah, but except
Also,
PS3 was not the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market.
No, but they tried to do what Nintendo did with the Wii U. They're like, oh, well, the PS2 was very successful because of this. Let's put in the PS3 and then put it back on the market. Nintendo's like, oh, look, the Wii was successful. Let's keep the name.
Oh, look, the Wii was successful. Let's just keep making those shitty games. And let's not have any third party make... Okay.
But anyway, so remakes. Do you think that remakes are warranted? Stefano.
It's case-by-case basis. You can't make a broad...
Absolutely, I agree. What do you think?
honestly, I think if they want to, like if they have the resources, go for it. Like, you know what?
See,
Why
that's
not?
that's
There
what
are
I agree
great
with. If you can
studios.
put out, like, it all comes down to like having content on a system. If you could remake a game that has done very well that people want, and it's not going to take away from your core development team, and you could still produce new
Yeah.
products, then I think remakes are completely worth it.
Because, I mean, with the remakes, they don't need the writers because the story's already done.
Yeah.
Like, they just...
Keep in mind, we know
It
absolutely
also-
nothing about game development or design.
That's-
So like,
But-
even if it is for some cases, maybe just cleaning up some assets, making it look prettier,
Yeah.
or maybe even adding in a
and
few more mechanics.
sometimes
bug
they
fixing.
redo the whole game, like, from
Like, the
ground
work
up,
is done.
except the story.
It's like when you
generally
have an
stays the same.
essay. Your essay is written. You just got to fix everything and then move it forward.
But the thing is, like, as far as assets and like ability to make them, they're great. Like, Sony has a great porting studio in Bluepoint. They remade the entire Uncharted trilogy, and it's amazing. Apparently, like, to play them, like, they play better than the originals did because the mechanics.
Yes.
are
I would
new.
hope so.
See, what they
They're
have to... Majority of the things they have to fix up is just the way it plays, like the actual controls
Again,
and the
we're
way...
probably really simplifying.
We're
extremely
extremely I
What do you
guarantee
mean? All you
it.
have to do is put the disc in the PS4, and then it plays on the PS4.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It means
magic
it
powers.
automatically updates, right?
Have you never made games before?
I made a game last week, guys. I made God of War 3.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was a bad explanation. That was a terrible game to choose to have made.
I mean, The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Go play The Last of Us.
Yeah. Don't listen to us. Just go play Last of Us.
Like, as much as, like, I'm like, man, why'd they put Last of Us out on PS4? It came out, like, 6 months before
Okay,
it came
to be
on
fair,
PS3, but, like, I played it
I
on
traded in my
PS4.
PS3 version and got the PS4 one because it was just that much like worth it. That's how much.
Turn off your
You,
phone.
I'm gonna save it for the next one, but I think that might be one of my top fives.
I'm not going to turn off my phone. I have important conversations I need to continue.
Maybe draw in the line.
Anyway. All right. I think that wraps up. That was a
Yeah.
good top.
Yeah.
Miss Quality, go ahead, buddy.
Okay,
It's your
so
topic.
I'm gonna go because we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about the VR gaming scene that's gonna come up soon. It's
the future.
The future,
Fuck it,
essentially.
it's not the
It's the
future.
future.
It's gotta be the future. It's gonna be the future for first-person games specifically.
If that's the future, I don't want to be there.
I'm of two minds of it. On the one hand, I think that putting people in an augmented reality, giving them like direct control, again, going back to you are the character, for a lot of people, that's just going to change everything. The other hand, I don't want to move.
Okay, but to be fair, you're only
I
turning
think-
your head. You don't have to move
Yeah, I
your
don't want
entire
to do
body.
that. Because like you said, you want it to be comfortable and relaxed. You're like not moving,
Okay.
right? You don't even want to get a nice computer chair so you could actually play the games that you want to, or that you're waiting to come to the PS4 because you're like, well, I don't want to play it on PC. And then you're going to be okay with, well, I'm going to literally play Call of Duty. Give me my freaking
Okay.
augmented reality gun.
I think there's a specific type of game because for Call of Duty, for example,
but
like-
if when virtual reality catches on,
I really hope it does. I don't think it will.
I think it will.
I'm going on
no,
record saying
they're
it
gonna.
doesn't.
I think
okay,
it will because it won't just attract gamers.
I go on
That
record.
too?
Hold on. I go on record saying.
Keep
it
in
will
mind, when I
not-
say virtual reality, I'm like, this isn't limited to just playing games. This is for everything.
Yeah, so as an
this is
asterisk-
going to be
Movies?
the new internet.
As an as an asterisk, it's not going to take over the video game scene. It will. It will
What Final
take
Fantasy
over,
was he from?
as an asterisk. 7.
Shut
and a
up.
half.
Go on.
He had wings. He's a little bitch. Anyway, it's for you, Ken Bart. So to me, like, it doesn't make it doesn't actually put me into the game. The idea of looking into this person's eyes does not
Okay.
enthrall me because there's always going to be
I'm
there's
gonna-
going to be a
Have you
disconnect.
tried
I'm
any
gonna.
form of virtual reality?
I refuse.
I'm
be
gonna point out one
okay.
thing because we were all in the same program in school. One day, our teacher had brought in the Oculus Rift,
Yeah.
and we played a couple of games that were on there. One thing that I experienced the most that of all the games that she brought, like, they were very minor games, obviously, but because it was still in its early development. But she brought in this one game that was you're in a villa in Italy, and you're just literally just walking around the house. There's no objective, no nothing. You're just experiencing the way Oculus works. And when I was doing it, I legitimately felt like I'd been teleported to a different country and was in that actual scenario. So I was looking around like it felt so real because you don't have any vision of
Right.
the outside world.
It removes that level of detachment. You're not just sitting on your couch looking at a screen.
It's
You
actually-
also
you're
are
there.
But it also creates another level of attachment. So in our program, we also had a class where we had to talk about why holograms have to look slightly not real, because otherwise it fucking confuses a viewer, and the viewer has to understand that something's not real.
Right.
So when you're sitting in a virtual reality...
But I mean...
Hold on. When you're sitting in... Sorry.
That's fine.
When you're sitting in a virtual reality...
Yeah, shut the fuck up, as well.
Yeah, don't give a fuck what you're saying.
Jesus.
No, this wasn't at my point yet. When you're sitting in a virtual reality, and you're... I hate you. I hate you all so much. Why am I doing this? When you're sitting in a virtual reality... and everything looks and feels real, I'm going to want to do... Like, your brain is going to think to touch and do
People are
things.
going to become addicted.
Okay.
Not even that, but your brain's going to think it's real. And the moment that you can't reach
Well,
out and touch
I think
things,
it should be said.
It's going to create an immediate disconnect, and you're not going to connect to
Currently,
anything.
virtual reality, you're going to know it's not real.
Yes. Also,
However,
you're feeling the headset on yourself, so you're going to know what the hell is
But
this
the
thing,
point is
and
that,
you're
when
recognize.
you're playing a video game, you get lost in the story and the environment
Yes.
because you allow yourself to imagine. But now I'm no longer imagining the story and environments. I'm
You're
right inside
there.
the
See,
story
I look
and
at it
environment.
completely different than that. I think it's you can imagine it even greater now.
Yeah.
Because you're more immersed. Like, isn't that what video games all come down to?
Like,
become immersed
what
in
I
the
was-
I
storyline?
don't think it would.
What I was gonna
in my
say-
opinion, it doesn't immerse me. That's all I'm saying.
What I was going to say before is that when I was in that Italian villa, like I'm saying when I was there because it actually felt like it was there, there came a railing or like a ledge where I tried to look over because I was like on the edge of a mountain. So when I actually tried to look over, I didn't just turn my head down. I physically leaned my body over to
Yeah, it adds
actually
another
look
dimension.
over. It adds another dimension, which makes it feel
I
so much...
during the same day,
more
I also got to
immersive.
try the Oculus Rift, and I was just standing in a field, and there were trees everywhere, and then like above me was a giant dinosaur, and like it didn't look that great. Impressively, maybe it looked like late
Not yet.
PS2, Xbox 360 games, but like
Also early development.
just the
being there.
feeling of looking up and seeing this thing. And it was so different than looking at a screen because like I couldn't see anything. My peripheral vision was gone. It was
just the game.
replaced with like everything that was there.
I just think
But it gives you such a different experience, and for that reason, keep in mind there's going to be problems. People are going to get motion sick.
I
from
mean,
this.
have
People
you
are gonna
seen
get
the
addicted.
videos
already
online of
fixing that,
people
though.
falling down of like when they were seeing that roller coaster?
Right, but
Oculus?
that's different
Like,
levels of virtual reality, right? Like Project Morpheus that's coming out. You can't you're just going to buy the helmet and you could sit there and you could play your games as you do normally, except now you have this helmet plugged in. Or you could go crazy and get the treadmill that you could actually walk around with,
That's
and
true.
you could buy the attachment so you could actually have a gun.
And there's also another thing
Right.
they started adding where it's a controller is in each individual hand. It reads where your hands are.
yeah,
So
it's we're getting so close to the Matrix.
But do you not see the problem in that, like, until you can create a feeling of the wind and the actual feeling of haptic
that's
feedback,
going to come.
But maybe it will, and maybe it won't. But
But I mean,
that creates a disconnect immediately. When I'm so enthralled visually, and then nothing physically is there, I immediately will disconnect.
that's
from
not
whatever I'm
true.
experiencing.
See,
to me, I'm not saying for everybody. But
That's-
to me, that's an
I
immediate
understand what you're
disconnect.
saying. And I
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from, but people were having this exact conversation when they were talking about taking video games out of the arcade and bringing them into the house.
Maybe they were, but people also had the same exact conversation about 3D, and no one really likes 3D because it hurts their fucking head, and no one likes it.
Yeah, well,
not no one. People like
if
it.
3D is done properly, there's a
Yes.
difference between taking a concept, especially something that might potentially, I'm not going to say revolutionize, but change the way things are done in the future. If it's done properly, then you have a much better chance of people being accepting to it.
But Dark
But if
Knight
you just
without
throw
3D
something in
is
and be
just
like-
as immersing.
But that's
immersion.
emergerizing. But Dark
Sure.
Knight wasn't filmed for 3D. They just
Even
threw
if
it in because they wanted
Avatar
money.
3D or not 3D is just as awesome.
Nah, dog.
It's not awesome, but just as awesome.
Gonna
as
pimp
it
his
could
ride?
possibly
No,
be.
dog.
But put a TV in your TV and your TV.
I'm going to let you finish, but you're wrong.
I can't agree. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, but
I
see,
despise
when I use the Oculus, the way your brain works puts you into an environment. It makes you feel what you wouldn't normally feel. So, like, if I was supposed to feel a breeze in the game, my brain might actually make me feel the way, like, there's an actual breeze. It's just the chemical makeup of your brain. It's just the way it
It
makes you
doesn't
feel.
do it that much. It doesn't
See,
sometimes.
I guess it depends how immersed you are in it, because that was the first time I ever tried it, and I legitimately felt like I was able to touch the environment
But
almost.
once you couldn't, did not immediately
No.
be like, wow, what the hell?
Not even, because I was holding a keyboard, moving around with the keyboard, obviously. So, but I still felt like I could reach up and touch them. I'm like, oh wait, it's not there, but I still felt immersed. It just like it felt normal.
No, that would
almost.
weird me out. I couldn't do that.
I guess okay, that's your
But,
that's
I'm
your
not saying
opinion.
you're
Yeah,
wrong. I'm just-
no, that's your
I can't
opinion. But I
agree
mean,
with you.
like, for I think a majority of people are at least gonna be willing to give it a try, and then if they get used to it enough, they're gonna want to.
I
get it.
honestly believe that if this augmented reality is done properly,
Well, I don't
it
mind
will
augmented reality.
change.
Augmented reality is cool.
That's what we're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, virtual reality. Yeah, if the virtual reality is done properly, then it's going to change how a lot of things are done in the gaming community. Not just gaming community, but society in general.
So here's
the
my
fact
thing.
that you could be a surgeon and you could actually practice a surgery
Surgery
that you're
awesome.
going to do.
Okay.
That's awesome.
For
Without
example,
killing someone.
what they did, not for virtual reality, but general video games, they have the army using their like certain video games to test out like
This is a really good segue into something else.
but training for flying a jet or something,
great
or a
segue.
helicopter, for example, or a tank. They have them training in their made game specifically for that, which train them all the mechanics and what to do in an actual tank without having to be in there or having the danger of getting shot at.
So what you're saying is,
But it gives
do
you-
video games affect our view of reality?
Yes. Like,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
that was
So that's
that was the
fine.
next
I'll give
topic,
you
so
that.
we're just going to mix both of them into one.
So do video
so-
games affect our view of reality? I don't think so.
I mean, I think they do.
I think
It depends how immersed you get into something.
My answer to this might be a little. You might not agree with it.
Okay.
I think that if you cannot discern reality from what isn't real, and that
Don't
you
be
actually,
playing video games.
and then you actually let these stories, these
Right.
works of fiction affect your mental
Don't be playing
state.
video games.
But there's
Then there are far more problems with you as
Don't
a
be playing video
person.
games.
okay.
Don't play
But that goes
video
back to
games.
like the whole: do video games make you violent?
No.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They enhance your violence because you're a violent fuck. You're a
But-
crazy serial killer now. Anyway, you're just a crazy person who's already more willing to kill somebody than a normal person, and so this
Okay.
Well,
created
actually,
an idea in your head. Like,
this is very interesting because a while back, I forget the name of the study, but it was a character study where somebody is brought into a room and they have questions in front of them and a button. And they have another person who is hooked up behind a wall who is supposed to be hooked up to an electric
I
chair.
know what this is. Yeah.
And they said, you ask them the questions, and if they get it wrong, you press the button and they get an electric shock. And the amount of times they get it wrong, the more times you shock them, the more powerful the shock is supposed
Oh,
to
yeah,
be.
I think I heard this.
I don't think it's necessarily
So-
applies, but go ahead.
They asked them very simple questions like, what day is it today? And they would always, the idea is that the person who is not in any actual harm
Answer's right.
answers incorrectly.
Oh, incorrectly.
And they have to do the shock. And eventually it gets to the point where the person is screaming in pain, but they don't stop because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing what role they're put
They're
in.
following orders.
When you apply that to a video game, if you are an army man and you are in the army and you're invading North Korea, guess what? You're going to shoot everyone. Why? Because that is your role. That's your character.
So-
However, that doesn't mean that does not change your own view of reality.
Okay, but I mean...
This, in
For-
reference to the study, sorry,
Go ahead,
Spalding.
go ahead.
In reference to the study made a lot of people upset because it showed everybody that everyone's capable of doing terrible things, technically.
Right.
But what the study is showing is that you will just follow orders because you think that's what you're supposed to do. Someone who looks like they're of authority, who tells you to do something, you're generally going to follow that rule. You know, because you think that they have authority over you.
Right.
And so I get what you're trying to say in this reference is that, like, just because you do this doesn't make you a bad person. Just because I'm in a video game shooting people in the face doesn't make me a mass murderer.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yes.
remember when, I forget which one, but Call of Duty, no Russia.
Okay.
Yeah.
People
And
freaked out over that one specific mission because, well, why are you shooting
Innocent
citizens?
people.
You know how
Yes.
many innocent people I've killed in video games? I've
Like-
run over people,
So,
and just
GTA,
animals, hunting.
The only
whatever.
problem with it, and this is why I have a problem with games like that. I
It's
can't
because
remember- I
they
can't remember
specifically tell you to do it.
That's true, but also, like, the issue with it...
No,
I don't think Call
open
of
world
Duty-
games, you can just go kill an innocent
No, but
civilian,
I'm talking-
but nobody tells you to do it. You just
I'm
do
talking
it if you want.
specifically to the no Russia mission.
Yes.
So in
in
reference to
Okay.
No Russia, I don't think there's a problem with it because first of all, they give you the option to skip it, so you don't have to experience this mission if you don't want to.
Didn't they do that after?
No, it was always in the game.
That was
It was
always
always
there, yeah.
there.
Right, yeah. It tells you right at the beginning. They don't really give you context.
It's like do you want graphic content or not?
yeah, they don't give you enough context. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, that's
so,
fair.
So, I had an issue, and this actually reminds me of a game that came out. Came out on the PC. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it was about a guy who goes postal and he wears a trench coat and he just murders everybody in the whole
Final
game.
Fantasy VII.
Yes. Do you know what the game I'm talking about?
No.
Did it come out recently or
Yeah,
within the...
recently. It was a
Oh,
big
okay,
thing.
I think it's called shit. I
On
can't remember.
PC it was? Anyway, continue. I'll think of it.
Anyway, so the point of this game...
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. The point of this game is that you are the guy who goes crazy and you just murder people, police officers, innocent people. There's no one that's actually bad. They don't come at you like it's bad. But the reason why this game is a problem is that it doesn't give you a choice. Sure, in GTA I can get in my car and just run everyone over.
Right.
But that's not the premise of the game.
No, of course
not. The premise of the game is to you're going to be a criminal, but you don't have to kill everyone. You kill other bad people generally, or other police officers who can defend themselves.
I'm sorry. So Pasquale is looking up this game. He literally put into Google PC games where you are a serial killer and wearing a trench coat.
What came up?
I didn't put wearing a trench coat, but I think it's called Serial Killer, if I'm not mistaken.
It might be.
I didn't find it yet, but I think it just sounds like something wrong.
But, okay, so
my problem is that it doesn't give you the choice. The moment you have the choice, you're exercising the ability to decide what the game is about and whether or not you'll do those things.
Right.
Right.
Well, that goes back to...
And also,
it's a good one.
GTA specifically does everything in irony. If you think that GTA is really...
Right.
Like, everything it does is actually... a satire on human life and indulgences, and if you don't realize that, then you're not playing the game.
When a new Grand Theft Auto comes out and I were to buy it and I play it, I do a lot of things that if I were to do in real life, I would be
arrested,
put to death.
But I don't do those.
But
different. I won't
exactly.
do that.
I would never do those things because I could understand that this is a game. This is a work of satire. This is a story. I am playing a character in a fictional world. This can never apply to our real life. This will never, I will never, even if I were to really get into just Grand Theft Auto as an example, I understand it's a very trite example, but that would never distort my view of reality. I always know that I am
me.
I am me. I'm in a physical world, and that physical world has consequences. So if you believe...
Oculus Rift has problems, though.
See, I don't think so. Because I think that...
When you take off the headset, you're going to realize, oh, I'm at home.
Well, that goes back to what I said before, that if you are the type of person that even when virtual reality gets you, and you can't discern what is real and what isn't, then I think that those are bigger problems.
I agree, but I mean, it'll spike...
Hatred!
That's it, what's called. It's called hatred, sorry. It'll spike the amount of those people that get a hold of it and get more. Like, someone might be less out of touch with their own reality, but because they're put into another reality, they'll be even more.
Okay,
like it'll.
Wasn't that why people play video games anyway? Just to get out of their reality.
Out of touch in the sense of you don't understand what's real and is not real. It's not a sense of
I honestly believe that the amount of people that lose sense with their own reality, and when I say that, I mean they actually don't know what is real. Then that's something completely separate.
Okay,
to what we're talking about.
When I say alternate your change your reality or make you confuse it with reality, I don't mean actually confuse it. I mean it in a way can alter your life. For example, I'm pretty sure when Call of Duty first came out, that caused a big... I have no statistical proof to this, but I'm pretty sure it caused a big spike in people joining the army because they felt like they could probably do what they're doing in the game.
It caused a massive spike in people applying to the army.
Okay, see...
And it caused an even bigger spike of the army rejecting a lot of people.
Obviously, but I'm saying
it depends on which country you're in right now.
But see, I'm saying it makes people think that they can do something in their real life that they're doing in the game. Like in Call of Duty, where they can go, it's why can't I just do this? It's something that's...
Star Trek.
But see, as I brought up many times in this episode, I've been playing Far Cry 4. You could jump off mountains and wingsuit down. I would never do that.
But you could.
I could, but guess what? I'm not going to.
But I'm saying there are people who would do it.
Right, but... I honestly believe that the percentage of people that would do something like that and be play a video game and be oh, look, this Mario guy's really good at parkour. I'm going to start jumping on stuff.
But I mean...
Maybe you might have an interest, but is that really going to transition into your real life?
No, but I'm saying, look at Assassin's Creed. When it first came out, how much parkour was done. Now there's people all over the place doing parkour a lot of the time. I'm not going to say a lot of people,
Assassin's Creed, there was a brief period of time where there was a lot of parkour happening.
Was there? I don't remember. Yeah, but I mean, it seems
the people
like
that were already doing parkour put Assassin's Creed in front of their YouTube video and got more hits.
Okay, but see, they're also wearing the suits and stuff, which alters their kind of reality, which is there's no point to them to wear
if you're a parkour YouTuber that had an Assassin's outfit before Assassin's Creed came out, send us a message and we'd love to have you on the show. Because apparently you are the all-seeing future of this world. And
the thing is, do video games alter your reality?
To a certain extent.
That's
think
a poor choice of words. I feel like, do they inspire you? They have the ability, just like...
Do they inspire?
Just like
yes.
Cool
Do
people,
video games inspire you?
Just like when cool people on TV used to smoke, and they'd say that would make people smoke. Yeah, it did. I watch Mad Men, and I want to have a fucking cigarette, and I've never smoked in my life.
Right. So then how about...
But I won't do it.
I would say that video games... Do they change your view of reality?
Media.
If they do...
There's nothing to do with video
Right,
games.
let's just say media. Thank you.
And yes, they do.
If they do, and they actually do to an extent where you either put yourself in harm or someone else in harm, that's not a fault of the media. That's a fault of the individual.
Yes.
Which, of course, our current society refuses to believe. They believe that if anything out there that could potentially do harm to anyone at all, it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
However, I will say that video games, media in general, movies, television, it shouldn't change your view of reality, but it should allow you to see things and appreciate things from different perspectives. Because if you live your life just as you are, you're only experiencing one thing. No, but if you never read a book, if you never play a game, if you never watch a movie, if you deprive yourself from these experiences, you're only experiencing your one life, which is boring as shit because you're an average person. But when you enter in this world, and it is a world, it's something that somebody took the time to create and craft and actually grow something from. The characters, physics, laws, everything that works together into making something. You're adding a new perspective to yourself and you're growing as a person. Media should not affect you to the fact that I'm going to become a vigilante now and fight people. It should inspire you to be like, however,
on occasion,
it makes me want to. It doesn't mean I'm going to do
yes.
it. Do I want to be Batman?
It gives you inspiration.
Everyone wants to be Batman.
It's inspiration. For example, cell phones would probably never exist if it weren't for Star Trek.
A lot of things wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Star Trek.
I wouldn't exist if it weren't for Star Trek.
See, but I'm saying it's like
Jordy, he wouldn't exist if it wasn't
there's
for Star Trek.
inspiration. Like that's
Star
what
Trek
it does.
wouldn't exist if it weren't for Star Trek.
But see that affected our reality.
Right. And that's
literally
why it's a good
That's why that
thing.
statement isn't like. Does it affect our reality? Does it affect our life? Absolutely.
There's certain
does it affect
aspects
it
that
negatively?
do.
Not
Are
necessarily.
there people out there that choose to believe that Star Trek is the true reality? Absolutely. Are those people insane?
Yes.
If everyone who picks up Call of Duty, will they all become soldiers? No.
No.
If everyone picks up Grand Theft Auto, will they all become mass murderers?
However,
no.
will somebody
But
that
if someone
plays...
who's going to be a mass murderer picks up Grand Theft Auto, they might still be a mass murderer because they're going to be a mass murderer.
there was already the idea there.
Going back to what you just said, if somebody genuinely picks up Call of Duty and actually connects with the idea of being a freedom fighter
soldier,
and wants to join the army...
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Because they're making a conscious decision. However, if I play
If they
Call
think
of
they're
Duty...
going to go hunting through a forest...
Yeah,
and actually
if they
post-apocalyptic,
understand, it's like, you know what? This is what I want to do.
War
Go
is not
for it.
like this.
But if you're thinking
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go hunt down the terrorists. No, you're not. You're going to be stationed outside of an army post for
Watch
14
Jarhead.
hours on
That's how it's
shifts.
going to be. That movie's terrible, but if you want to see a...
Which movie?
Jarhead.
Jarhead.
I hate that movie. Anyway.
Also, if you want to watch a movie that you're going to hate, watch Teeth.
Oh, God.
Don't watch Teeth.
Watch The Room.
Watch Rubber.
Mark. Anyway,
God.
Tusk as well.
that's a great movie.
Don't
Whoa.
listen
You
to
like
him at
Tusk?
all.
Do not insult Kevin Smith on my podcast.
Okay, on my podcast.
If you start
And the
insulting-
truth comes out.
If you start insulting Kevin Smith, it will quickly become my
You
podcast.
can get out right now.
You're my ride.
I mean, I don't have to be.
Don't leave him here, please.
He's stuck with me.
Anyway,
All
I think
right.
that
That's a good
covers
way to end
everything,
it.
no?
Well, as a wrap,
I feel like
video games, do they affect our world in reality? Sure. If
To an
VR,
aspect.
will VR become a thing? Probably. If it does, I'll never play video games again.
So we need to get a third.
Yeah, if that ever happens, I'm leaving, so bye.
All right.
Yeah.
I know you guys will be happy, though, it seems. All right.
so. Yeah.
Next topic.
That's it.
Was that? I think that was it.
Was it?
We pretty much threw everything together.
Kind of.
Well, we're gonna for the next episode, we're gonna be continuing our game of top 5 games of all time. We're gonna be doing our
Personally,
yes, our third and second. Also,
third and fourth.
for the shut up.
Third and second.
No, well, we start.
fine,
Shut up!
man.
I started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Okay.
It's still going to be third and second. We did 2.
5, 4, today. Next week.
What are you talking?
Third,
There wasn't a
second.
Oh, I get what you're saying. No.
What?
Sure, it's some twisted, crazy logic. Sure.
Well, all right. Well,
Whatever.
sure.
We'll allow it.
Anyway,
Motherfuckers don't know what a countdown is.
But I mean, we didn't. It wasn't in order.
Everything's in order.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't have picked the ones I picked if it was in
I
order.
mean, yeah, I don't. Shut up.
All right. Good ending.
All right, well,
Yeah, so...
we'll see you guys next week.
I'm Stefano.
I'm Pasquale.
I'm not. I'm Patrick.
And we are RumblePac, hopefully for a long time. You can follow us on Twitter at... What's the Twitter again?
You can follow us at Twitter at the RumblePac. And also, you can send us emails to the RumblePac Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
And also be sure to follow our YouTube channel. And starting next week...
Are we doing this?
Yes, we're doing this.
Okay.
Starting next week, I will also have a little contest going on for people that might be interested in recent Amiibos that came out.
Yeah, Amiibos...
You want to tell them how that contest works?
Nope.
Okay.
Tune in next week.
We're still figuring that out, so...
Okay.
Pasquale, God.
God damn it.
I mean, what are we going to do?
We literally... You took us 2 hours to set this up. We didn't even think the mics were
Shut
on
your
top
mouth.
of each other.
All right, let's get pizza.
We're not stupid.
Alright, we're gonna go eat pizza, guys. This is RumblePac, and
We'll also
peace
do
out.
Episode 1,
Yeah.
bitches.
Stuff.